Hey guys, it's Mike Sherrard, aka the Purple Realtor, and today we're coming back with another collaboration video. This is with a young hustler from the States who just got into real estate and has such an inspiring yet touching story. So he had some questions about social media, door knocking, and those sorts of things. He reached out to me from Instagram, so I figured I'd jump on the call and see how I can help him take his business to the next level. So let's jump in on it. Make sure you subscribe, comment below, let me know what you guys want to hear, and let's get into it. Cheers. There he is.
All right, what's going on, Mike?
How's it going, man?
It's going. Is it staticky or no? You
It's
can hear
not
it
too
all right?
bad. No, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, it's going good. I mean, today was super busy for me, so that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, definitely, man. That's awesome. Crushing it out of the start gate in 2018.
Yes. I'm excited. How was your day?
Good, man. It's with this week launching the team and everything, it's been a hustle just getting all the content ready and building up a little bit of a buzz for us to start crushing it. So it's been quite some days. So excited though.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Definitely.
Okay, sorry. Getting everything kind of set. I just kind of walked in the door, didn't get a put on my relaxed clothes or anything.
Yeah, I'm at home doing just content creation, so I'm shirt and scarf because it's -20 here.
-20? Are you serious?
Yeah, man. It's
Wow.
freezing.
People over here in San Antonio, I mean, they're freaking out when it's 30 degrees. I think the lowest we'd seen was 28 degrees.
No way.
Yeah, and people, I mean, forget how to drive and stuff like that. So
I know I've seen that here. Well, in other provinces like Vancouver, you have 1 inch of snow and the whole city shuts down. So it's
mm,
here we're used to feet of snow, -30. It's all good. So
wow. And when does it? I mean, does it stop? Are you guys like in March, April by then,
oh
or
yeah,
wow, that is crazy.
yeah,
Um,
totally.
so man, okay, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Finally get to talk to the man. Okay, so I don't know where exactly, I mean, how you want to start it. I did send you like the branding question, Instagram scripts, and leveraging my age and things.
Yeah, so let's because I don't know you too well, why don't you just give yourself a bit of a brief introduction so I know a bit more about where you are in your business, where you came from, that kind of thing, and then let's just bash out all those topics that you wanted to touch on.
Okay, for sure. So right now I'm 21 years old. If I can kind of rewind a little bit, in 2014 I graduated high school, and then that fall I started showing an interest in real estate. My dad was actually selling our house at that time, and then of course realtors were calling and everything like that. He ended up listing with his longtime friend. He's a agent over here. His name's Patrick Conway. And then sure enough, I would see him come in. He did his like listing presentation. He had his photographer come in, take pictures. So I was interested with the whole thing. And then sure enough, they would have showings. One time, strangely enough, they didn't tell me that there was a showing, and I was getting out of the shower.
Oh man.
So I walked out of the shower. I mean, just minding my own business with a towel on, and I go to head to my room, and when on the way to my room, there's a staircase, and
Yeah.
sure enough, the agent and 4 of the family members, his clients, were walking up the stairs, and I kind of just like froze with a deer in the head.
Oh my God.
Oh, I didn't know there was a showing today. Sorry. And
Yeah.
of course, they were cool with it and everything. They didn't end up buying the house, but no big deal.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so that's when I started showing an initial interest in real estate.
Cool.
Beforehand, my family, like all on my dad's side, they had either ran car businesses or they owned them. So I was familiar with the whole, I mean, sales aspect of things. My dad it always instilled in me the value part of it, not being the sleazy type car salesman where you can
Yeah.
smell the commission on their breath and things like that. So I learned that at an early age, but going forward, the beginning of 2015, that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to get my classes, started scheduling meetings with that agent that was listing my dad's house, Patrick Conway. Um, At that time, I was also helping a friend sell his car, and I was like, okay, well, how are you going to pay me? Like, what do I do if I sell the car? And he was like, look, just give me this amount of money, and anything you make more than that, I'll give it to you. And I was
Cool.
like, okay, like let me take advantage of that.
Yeah.
So sure enough, ended up I think making 1,500 over what he was asking for. Turned around, paid for my courses. I was going to do the online route because I could just kind of breeze through it. That was in February, okay, and then go to March. This is kind of where it's going to flip real quick, but you'll get to understand kind of who I am. So March 30th of 2015, or March 26th rather, we'll start there. My grandmother had passed away, and she was in El Paso, Texas, which was about 8 hours away. So we went down there. My dad, mom, brother, sister, and I. We went down there. Went to go to her services and everything. We were down there for the weekend. And then on March 30th, it was the day of the actual church service, like the mass and everything. We did that during the afternoon, had lunch with our family, kind of said our goodbyes. And then on our way back to San Antonio, it was give or take about 8:30 that night. There was a blowout. There was a blowout in the rear tire on the passenger side. We were driving a 2011 Tahoe. Speed limits here, I don't know about how they are over there, but it's 80 miles an hour. So it's one of those things you can't steer it.
No.
Anyways, we end up swerving a little bit. My dad takes it into the median. At that point, when it took into the median, the sand was so soft that the Tahoe nosedived. So we flipped end over end. And keep in mind, we had made this trip, multiple times. 20 times probably. So it's late at night. You're trying to get comfortable in an 8-hour drive. So I didn't have my seatbelt on. Sister didn't have hers on, and my brother in the third row seat didn't have his on. Because we were all sleeping. So we nosedive, we go end over end. They say we rolled about 6 or 7 times. Throughout that process, I was ejected.
Wow.
I ended up like 25 feet or 30 feet away from the vehicle. I was knocked unconscious. Then anyways, fast forward to the next night, right? Or the next day, I wake up in the hospital, don't know what's going on. Didn't know that I remember waking up like maybe quick 30 seconds or so outside of the vehicle, but it was night. I couldn't see anything. I saw what looked like to be a car upside down, and then some other cars coming that were trying to aim their lights at the median.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember trying to get up, couldn't get up. And then next thing I know, sure enough, wake up in the hospital. See, everything starts focusing in, right? You start to look at yourself. Okay, what's going on here? What's going on here? Kind of one of those first-person things. And my family wasn't in the room at that time. They were visiting my sister in downstairs. She was on the downstairs floor. I was in they call it the trauma floor.
Yeah.
I ended up breaking both of my femurs. I had a huge gash right here on this arm, and then had some road rash that I had sustained. So I dealt with that. My sister broke her fibula, tibula, and then shattered her opposite leg ankle.
Holy shit.
My mom broke her toe, so it wasn't anything crazy, but she still went through that. And then my brother, believe it or not, I'm 6'2". My brother's 6'4". He's 3 years younger than me, but he's huge guy. And he didn't have a single scratch or bruise on him.
Wow.
And he just tumbled around when we were in the accident, got out. He was walking around like everything was okay. Unfortunately, my dad did pass away on impact with that accident.
Wow.
Because like I said, when we went end over end, at that speed and everything, it just kind of takes down the top. The A-arm where the front windshield is collapsed. And they say that the only reason I kind of survived or made it out okay was because I was ejected because I was sitting right behind him.
Yep.
We're the same height and everything. So God works in mysterious ways. So kind of going through that process, my sister and I were in the hospital for 2 weeks, and we didn't even make it to San Antonio. They ended up taking us to a hospital in San Angelo, which is about 4 hours from San Antonio, like the midway point between El Paso and San Antonio. And one of those things where it was just going super fast, right?
Yeah.
And my family, I don't even know how my friends found out. But sure enough, I started getting calls and texts. Eventually, after I got my phone back, after I met the rescue team from the helicopter, they came in, brought my clothes, my phone, because I didn't have it up until then. So I brought all that stuff. I start getting calls, texts from my friends, my family from El Paso, start coming in, visiting us, and then everything really starts to sink in. I mean, you got to find out about my dad. What's the next step in life? Because I was living with my dad. My mom and dad were separated.
Okay.
They had known each other for so long. I think they knew each other when my mom was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
So she knew my dad's mom, my grandma. It was one of those things where just paying her respects and stuff. So they were able to come together as a family and pay our condolences and stuff. So kind of going through that. Sorry, I'm still kind of. I want to get everything in there so you can kind of get an understanding of it.
Yeah.
So through that 2-week process, I mean, learned that it broke my legs. My sister was injured. Brother was okay. But about 3 days after, my mom, she was one of those where, I mean, she's kind of battled the drug issue and stuff like that. So kind of took a hit on her. She lost my dad. She was dealing with our injuries. She ended up leaving the hospital. For some reason, she told me that she had to go take care of some things at home. So she left her 3 kids in the hospital, even though we had our family there. She left us there. And then I'm just like, okay, I mean, what am I supposed to do? My sister, keep in mind, she's 3 years older than me, and then my brother's 3 years younger. But kind of the way I was raised, my dad was always like, you're going to be the rock of the family. You're going to be the one to hold everybody together. I was like, so this is all starting to come. Okay, like he was right. At some time, this was going to happen. So all in the hospital, ended up getting that taken care of. Start writing my dad's obituary, which was a crazy thing.
Yeah.
At that time, 19 years old. I just turned 19 a year or a month before. Started writing that, and then figuring out where we were going to go. And then before I knew it, my family in El Paso were like, you don't have an option. You're going to move with us. And I was like, well, what about my life in San Antonio? They're like, well, what do you mean? You can't walk. Your sister can't walk. Your brother, I mean, who's gonna feed you guys? Who's gonna provide for you guys? Like, you guys don't have anything left now. Your dad was your supporter. I was like, okay, let's go. So end up moving to El Paso. Unfortunately, all my family's there. I love them, but I don't love the place.
Yeah.
Go through the recovery process. I got out April 14th, 2015. My dad's service was held April 28th. They told me I wasn't going to walk for 3 months, or like start the walking process for 3 months because of the two fractures in my femurs. I was using a walker. The first day I ever attempted to was April 28th on my dad's service. I like got out of the van. My family helped me out. I sit in the walker, and I was like, you know what? I have to walk in there. Like something just got into me where I had to walk. I had to walk. Sure enough, stood. I mean, kind of started walking and everything like that. Of course, I was laid up a few days after that. My muscles were in shock and stuff, but went through that whole thing, the recovery process. Started again, like I told you, my dad's side of the family's all in the car business. So about 2 months when I was pretty confident about at least walking, I started using a cane. I would drive to my uncle's dealership, start doing his like marketing. I would post on Craigslist, Facebook, do a few ads elsewhere, do some flyers and things like that, just to promote his car dealership. And then it turned into me becoming a salesman, and then learning the whole sales side of things, learning the finance side. Ended up being head salesman into a manager position. Got to the point where I was kind of battling his position, where he knew that if he wasn't going to compensate me correctly, that I was going to either go on my own, start a business, run it the right way, the kind of the new way, and then eventually ended up having falling out and stuff like that. So I lived in El Paso from the accident time. I lived there for 2 years. I just recently moved back to San Antonio June of this year, or this past year. So I had paid my courses and everything over the time frame of those 2 years. I got my courses, but I was a car dog and things like that. You still there?
Yeah.
Okay, it says unstable. All right, so I just put the courses on the back burner. I mean, I wasn't interested in them at all. I was stuck in a rut. I ended up getting them through, sent my application out, and they were like, okay, well, you have a year to take your test and submit all your paperwork. Okay, I'm gonna do it. Blah blah blah. It ended up getting to that year time frame. Okay, and I still hadn't done my test, studied for it or anything. Crap. I mean, what do I do?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you can send a new application, spend an extra $350, do all the other paperwork, and then we'll give you another year. And I was like, okay, like I know I didn't spend this money and this time for nothing. This is my dream is to get into real estate and stuff like that. That's the only way I'm really gonna get out of the position that I'm in. So I ended up paying that money. This was in May of 2017. And then I was like, you know what? El Paso just isn't the fit for me. I had all my friends telling me the entire time, the whole 2 years, like, move down, we've got you, we're gonna take care of you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, it's it's a lot harder than that. You guys aren't understanding my situation. They're like, no, it's you. You just don't want to. You're making excuses every time. Okay, so I ended up making the move in June. In June 24th, I moved down here. I studied and everything like that for 2 weeks, got my license second week of July, or passed my test rather, second week of July. And then I got my license first week of August. And then I joined on with Keller Williams Heritage, the Keller Williams Heritage office, which happens to be the biggest real estate office in the whole real estate industry. So it was a pretty big deal for me. I knew that I wanted to go the Keller Williams route just because of the training and other systems and tools that they offer kind of to propel their agents to the next level.
Yeah.
And in 2015, I had already done a few interviews with Remax and Century 21, private company here. And I did the KW, and KW blew it out of the water. Of course, over that 2-year time span, I was doing my research and things, kind of seeing if anything had changed. But here in San Antonio, I mean, KW is really where you want to be at.
Awesome.
At least in my eyes. I know with Remax and all that stuff, you had some good stuff to say with them over there. But went on with KW, did my required month training, got out like the second week of October from there. Started banging out, I mean, doing the whole call, door knocking thing and all that. Closed my first transaction the first week of this past December. Pretty cool. It was like an investor deal.
Awesome.
We're actually going to relist here in about 2 weeks because
Cool.
they're already done with the property. So things are starting to pick up.
Yeah.
I know that was a kind of earful to go at, but I haven't got to the point where I can tell a story cleanly. I want to
For sure.
throw in all these little points, and it's obviously a lot to take in.
Yeah, that's a crazy story, man. That's very heartfelt, and you've been through some stuff, especially at such a young age. So that's quite something.
Yeah, and I guess to kind of seal it on it, my brother and sister still live in El Paso.
Okay.
I don't have. Okay, so still to this day, so you still I can understand. I haven't had contact with my mom. She disappeared the whole time. She's been gone this whole time. Hasn't really given us a reason or anything like that. My sister still uses her injuries as an excuse, I guess. She doesn't want to get into work. She doesn't want to go to school. And she's 24 now, so it's hard for me because I was the middle child. It's like, hey, I mean, I was supposed to look up to you.
Yeah.
You're supposed to guide me. And
Now you're paving your own path.
yeah, exactly. And it's the first year was kind of like, okay, I can take on this role. And then the second year of me living down there, I was like, you know what? I can't drag you to the finish line.
Yeah.
I can only do so much. And it's all a learning experience really, because they don't write a rule book on how this thing's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Like with my brother, we're same thing. I don't have a communication with him right now. I know it's just a little rut that he's going in because first year I was trying to be like a dad to him, kind of fill that void. Even though that wasn't my space, that's just what I felt like I had to do.
Yeah.
Second year was me, okay, like transitioning out of it, trying to be that brotherly role, giving brotherly love and stuff like that. Just how we had grown up. It was one of those things. Once I moved, he kind of, like, you know what, just give me my space for now. So
Yeah.
I'm dealing with that right now. I've got my friends here in San Antonio, um, and things with real estate related. I mean, they're really setting up to be big.
Awesome.
I wanted to get on with you and just ask you a few questions. I mean, kind of going forward, because I followed you really since I think you did that GSD podcast. I've been following Josh for a long time.
Yeah, yeah, man.
You did that, I think, in August, right, or something.
Yeah, around that time frame.
Okay, and I'll tell you that I followed you or started following your stuff probably in about April.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think you were 2 or 3 months in at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, I followed you way before, and I was watching the GSD podcast. And the next thing I know, Mike Sherrard pops up.
Yeah. That's cool.
The same thing with Brian Casella.
Yeah.
Casella, same thing. I followed him way back. They're doing the script thing back in like 2015. And
Yeah.
I see him do the GSD podcast. And all these dudes are making it. Like it's time for me to kind of get on that.
Yeah, man, it's your time. It's crazy, and you can make it happen. I have no doubt. And if there's anything I can do to make it happen, then you know I'll do it. So these Zoom calls are only 45 minutes long, so we got about 20 minutes to bang out some questions, and we can jump on another one another evening if we need to get some more time. So let's jump into what you have, and I'll do everything I can to help take you to that level, because it sounds like you've got a lot to prove, and you've got some big dreams.
Absolutely, my man. Absolutely. And that one we can kind of go over. I want to kind of ask you eventually, see if they're big enough. I mean,
Definitely.
I gotta aim for the sky. So I'll start with the whole branding thing.
Yeah.
Let's start with what's too pushy. I mean, what's being too much when it comes to branding? Because I want to be like organic. I want to grab it organically. I don't want to be the salesman type. I want to bring the value first. But at our age, you're 24, right?
I just turned 25 in December.
Oh, okay, just turned 25. So it's still kind of at that. I mean, the younger age. How do I kind of leverage both of those? Those might be two separate questions, but I mean, how do I?
Definitely. Well, for me, the biggest thing with the branding is identifying something that's one of your biggest passions, right? Something that you can relate to and can be authentic. Because if it's authentic and it's something that is actually a part of your lifestyle, then it can never come across as pushy, because it's real. It's you. It's literally what you live, right? So for me, it was cars and the entrepreneurship world, and I've helped multiple startups. Cars have always been my passion. So you can never say I bought a nice car in order to build my brand up, because people have been seeing me do this my whole life, and they know what my dreams were, right? So I work with a guy closely, and he used to be a top basketball player, and I know another guy who's a top football player, and they both, after injuries, went into real estate, and it got to the point where they leveraged those communities. They went and played in beer leagues. They went and branded themselves going to kids camps, going to high school games, and they just tapped into those networks. And you can never call them out saying that's a pitch, because it's their life. That's their thing, right? So for me, it's one of those things where I think on your Instagram page and social media page, you need to do a very nice, respectable blend of lifestyle and real estate. You don't see me. I post when I sell something or when I list something, but otherwise the majority of it is pictures out me outdoor knocking, or with the car, or with other influencers who are local here, something that's real to me. So that way, when people meet you down the road, they'll have an understanding of what you're like. And I use Instagram stories a lot for that, because when you start using the stories, it's sort of throughout your day. It's almost like a mini vlog. And I have people who will meet me months down the road and be like, listen, Mike, I've been following your stories. You were at this, you were at that. I feel like I know you. So if you start leveraging things like that for your brand, they'll get a feel for you. And that's what the intent is yes, to brand yourself, but also to give people the feeling that when they meet you at some point, they already know you. So it breaks down that cold barrier.
I got you. Yeah, definitely. And that was one of those things that attracted me to you, is when I had followed you, was the whole car scene.
Yeah.
And I'm huge on that. And of course, I want all these other types of cars. I mean, when somebody would ask me, hey, what's your dream car? I'm like, you know what? I mean, give me a time frame in my life, or a dollar amount, or if it's a sedan, an SUV. I mean, I can narrow it down.
Yeah.
So I mean, where I want to go. I mean, I know I need to get some deals taken care of and stuff like that, transactions under my belt before I can take that step into doing that. But I just want to make the transition clear because the people that I know that are all my age and stuff like that I grew up with, they know that I've always been interested in cars, that I've always been around them. So I think it would be an organic transition into it.
Definitely. And what you can do in that case, and before I even had my first car, is I started going to luxury and exotic car meetups. And there's
Okay.
usually, if you're in any sort of normal city, there's supercars around, and there's
Right.
places where people meet, cars and coffee,
Yeah, cars and
whatever,
coffee is a big one.
right? So just start going there. Take a selfie with a nice Ferrari in the back or a Lamborghini. Take some videos of them pulling out. Maybe do what I'm going to do this year is do some little vlog overviews of what cars are featured each night and what my favorite pick is of that week. And
Okay.
just putting yourself out there. You can drive a Honda Civic, but if you put yourself around that and people know that that's your passion and your aspirations, then people will never call you out. They'll get interested and be like, you know what, I relate to that.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. With Instagram, I know you're the man to talk about that. Okay, so I know we were messaging back and forth a little bit. You did say go one post a day. I mean, just be consistent with it. Right now, it may be a limiting belief that I know it is a limiting belief, but that's 365 pictures that I got to put out. How am I going to get that much content to where what I'm posting daily, I'm not going to start losing that following that I'm gaining?
Definitely.
Of course,
And
keeping it personal and also tying in a little bit that I'm in real estate. I want to be like too pushy with it, but I want to stay myself. I don't want to lose myself throughout the process. Just I need to throw a post on there.
of course, of course. So a few tips that I did is the first thing I did when I wanted to really brand myself off the start gate is I got a local person who was going to cut me a good deal, do a professional photo shoot with me out and about around popular areas in my city. So different landmarks, stuff that people would recognize so that
Mm-hmm.
when you hashtag it, people would search it, they would see you. So I got about 50 photos from those 2 hours and I just kept it in a folder. So by doing things by in bulk like that, if you go on a vacation, take 100 photos.
Right.
Do because that way you won't get in that trap where you're overwhelmed about posting. You don't know what you're going to put out. You have a bank of things sitting in your computer, right? So that makes it a little bit easier. But also, if you go back and look at some of my posts, like there's days I have no idea what the hell I'm going to post. So I just take a picture of me in front of my car or me in front of a building or a selfie outside of a coffee shop that I'm at or with a friend, right? It doesn't have to be complicated. It's just out on the whim. And that's one of the exciting natural parts about it is that you can do it anywhere. If you go for a drink with someone, take a picture with them. If you go and you see a nice car, take a picture of you with it. Um, or if you're just closing a deal and you're at your desk working, turn around, put your screen in the background and take a selfie just showing that you're out there hustling, right? It doesn't have to be difficult. And you can also blend in some other stock photos. I see a lot of people doing it, especially like I know Brian does it sometimes. You just take pictures of like some nice luxury stuff that you like or that would relate to you. Maybe a few of my posts are motivational and they just had a Lamborghini on the driveway. This house could be in LA for all I know, but it's
Right.
something that relates to me and it sort of goes in with the theme of what I'm trying to create. So you can pull stuff off Google, different stuff like that. And as long as you have a consistent blend of showing your true life, it'll be all good.
Okay. Yeah. I think I'm definitely overthinking that part of it. I mean, just
Everyone does.
turn around and take a picture of anything.
It's so simple, right? And if you have like a decent cell phone or whatever, it's going to be a quality picture. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It's more so just about putting out the content and not being scared for it to be perfect.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I like that. So no excuse for me not to be doing
None.
one every.
I know when you're posting, so
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to. Okay, real quick. Time blocking on that.
yeah.
You said initially you took some time to do a little photo shoot with your social media. I mean, all your content that you're going to put out that day. Uh, Correct me. I think you said you spent a few times in the morning, or a few hours in the morning, or some time in the morning to get your content together, right?
Yeah,
What do
so
you
what
think?
I do is usually the night before, I'll have an idea of what I'm going to post in the morning. And some
Okay.
people use apps like Hootsuite that you can post, but I like to do it naturally each day. But the morning before, I kind of lay in bed and I'll go through like some people's stuff and start following some people and building a bit of brand awareness that way. But the night before, I choose what I'm going to post that day, and it usually has something to do with the day. Is it TGIF? Is it Friday? Is it Hump Day?
Okay.
Is it Motivation Monday? Tapping into some of those trends, Transformation Tuesdays, stuff that will get a bit of
Right.
buzz around it. And then in the morning, I'll take an hour and I do all my media content. But that's not like an hour for Instagram. That's an hour to write a full blog post, post on Facebook, go on Instagram. So that's an hour to do everything media related for that day, whether it be record videos, upload them, comment, just 1 hour in the morning. Because I find when you're in the morning, you're fresh. And usually during the day, content gets saturated because everyone's posting, right? Everyone's posting between sort of 9 and
Right.
5 p.m. So I do it really early or later in the evening when there's not as many posts. And that's time, that way your stuff gets seen a little with a bit more viewers.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. I'm going to take some pointers on that. Going into scripts, you're using Tom Ferry and Kevin Ward, right? A little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both. And I just, over time, seeing how people react in my communities, I just started adjusting it accordingly, right? There's different demographics, there's different pockets, there's different areas. And I try and tailor it differently to each one. I have the same general script. And again, like you said, and I can't speak highly enough of this, is coming in a way that just provides value and not and doesn't come across as salesy. Because if people know you're sincere, you're knowledgeable of the area, and you're truthfully just trying to come out and help people and provide value to them, there's no going wrong, right? And the
Right.
more you do it, the better you get. So if you can practice, and even we can practice together on calls weekly if you want, but just
Okay.
rehearsing it and getting in the notion of it.
Okay. Yeah. That's something that I really want to get into because I know that it's a great structure or it's got good bones and to start with. But I mean, once they say something off or they're not really interested in what you're saying off of that script, you kind of got to tap into the more personal side.
You
And
do.
I watched a video of yours, which I think you recently posted, where you'll look to see if they have whether it's kids, a dog, or a car. I mean, any of those three, I relate the same way. I mean, I'm huge. I got a Doberman Pinscher, and then
Wow.
cars. I've always been interested in cars, so I'll try to tap into those. But I kind of wanted to see, um, I guess, which route you take it. I mean, how are you going about it?
Definitely.
But
So
we're
usually,
still trying to get back into like the reason you're there.
yeah, of course. And that's usually what I'll do is I'll pay them a quick couple compliments when I show up at the door after I've introduced myself, before I get into it, just to break the guard down a bit. So I'll kick things off with, "Hi, my name is Mike Sherrard with Redline Real Estate. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to sell your house. I'm just coming in the area. I wanted to introduce myself. People have been asking me questions about the market. Homes on your street have been selling at quite a high price." And then after I maybe get a no,
Hmm.
I would toss them a quick compliment and just say, "Listen, I notice you got an awesome vehicle outside. I'm known for my car, and that's sort of my passion too." And try and work that into it, because at the end of the day, I want to try and get their email to send them the market report. Because
Right.
if I send them something monthly, they're never going to forget about me, and it just keeps the bug in their ear. So you can either do that, or you can even do it at the start and before you even introduce yourself, right? Because usually when someone shows up at the door, they expect salesy. So if you show up at the door and they actually do have a nice car, they're like, "Hi, my name is Mike Sherrard. By the way, I just wanted to say that fire in the driveway is absolutely gorgeous. I'm into cars too, and that's one of my biggest passions. So it's nice to see you've got great taste in the car."
Okay.
And then kick into your script, right? Because they're a little elevated and they're happy. You just pay them a
Yeah.
compliment. It's sparking their emotions, and now they're a little excited. And then you're like, "You know what? I am a local realtor, but I'm not going to ask you to sell this house." And then they automatically know they're going to relate to you in some way because they share that
Gotcha.
passion.
Yeah, I like that. Definitely came across. Wow. It blew me off there, man. I love it. Okay. go into that whole age thing. I mean, what kind of did you ever deal? I mean, at any point did you deal with oh, how long have you been in the business, or you're too young to handle this type of transaction? Because I know where you're at that 650, 700, 800 price point. So at any point, did you really get that, or is it just being on top of your stuff?
No, it's more so about being on top of your stuff. And I did get it, but more so it was out of shock that we're doing a good job. It's not, we don't think you're qualified. It's, oh my gosh, you're only 24. I can't believe that. Because what I tried to do is between rehearsing and practicing, with speaking with such knowledge and authority, when you come across with such confidence, there's no way for them to question you. Because if you come across like you know the area, you have the knowledge, you're passionate about what you do, you come across as if you've been in the industry for 3 to 5 years, they're never going to question you. And there's no reason for them to question you, because if you're providing the value and the same information, even at a higher level than the average agent who's 40, what's it to them? Why would they even bother? So they won't, right? So
Right.
for you, and I didn't even think you were 21, right? I thought you were probably mid 20s like myself. So when you're a taller guy and you dress well and you've got a clean cut, they're not usually going to ask that, right? But as long as you have that confidence, like, as I don't want this to sound egotistical or arrogant, but I walk into every house like I own the world and I'm going to get that listing. Like, there's no other agent but me. Why would you ever consider anyone else, right? And when you talk with that authority and believe in yourself, because when you talk with confidence, it means you believe what you're saying, then you're not going to get those questions, those objections.
Okay, yeah, and that's something. I mean, I know it's the whole confidence thing. I just wanted to know more or less it. Like for example, how's your listing presentation? Is there something that I mean? Of course, they might be thrown off guard once they meet you. Say if it's like a cold call or something, and you end up getting an appointment, and then it's for a listing, you go with your listing presentation.
Yeah.
Are there certain things that you put out there where it's like, this is why you should list with me rather than the other agent, if they're trying to hint at you that you're too young to do the job?
Of course, a lot of it is the marketing and the advertising, right? A lot of the old ass dinosaurs in this industry don't know how to leverage the latest and greatest technology to get the most attention on these homes. They're not at the forefront of the industry, looking at the new trends, studying the new wave of marketing and advertising to take your house to that next level, right? So if you sort of stem off the fact that you are in the know with everything, you are using all the latest and greatest technology, you don't just put on the MLS and become a sitting duck. You're at the forefront of everything and you're leveraging every possible angle from all platforms across the board to get the house sold, right? And when you come across as a young hustler that's an expert in all these new technologies that sometimes the sellers don't even understand, they're like, wow, I didn't even realize you could leverage social media to convert and things like that and generate leads. So yeah, I never get hard objections from that, because when they start seeing how a lot of old people made their mark in the 80s and 90s and now they think they can still just upload and sit, when I make them realize that that's not the case anymore, they're like, wow, you know what? We really do need someone who's up to date with technology and is in the know with all the trends.
Okay. And with your platforms, aside from the MLS and all the other real estate related services, are you throwing out your like Instagram, Facebook, maybe your
Yep.
business?
So Instagram, Facebook, personal, business. I always put it on my business, share it on my personal, and then I always run paid ads for any listings and any sales.
Okay.
And that way I get the attention of thousands of people per day, right? And that, because Facebook gives you the analytics, it's nice because then every week I send my clients a screenshot of the analytics and say, look, if you know, even though your house isn't moving, if it hasn't sold, here's proof that we're working to get it done. Here's how many people have been viewing it each day. It's tangible resources that you can show them how hard you're working above everyone else. You're not just talking, you're providing proof to them.
Right. Yeah, I like that. When you go to run a campaign, say that like in that area, the demographics showing like 45 to 50 years old. When you run your campaign, are you targeting that age, or do you go below that? I mean, above that? And
So I
where
usually, with sales, I usually go between closer to between 30 and 55. If it's in a very mature neighborhood, sometimes I'll just leave it open-ended because I do see people over 55 looking. And if it's a buyer's thing, I'll go 25 and up. But for the majority, you see the bulk of sellers and buyers being between that high 20s and mid 50s range. So that is sort of encompasses the bulk of who you would need to target. And then as you look at your analytics and you see who's responding to it, then you can start playing with it if need be and adjusting your target.
Okay. And do you stream those to, or do you link those ads on Facebook to Instagram?
Yeah. Yeah. Because Facebook owns Instagram. So
Right.
when you, and that's the key thing, I'll send you, with my team meeting this week, I'm going to do an ad for my team. I'll send you a screenshot of what I create. It's important to get the information across clear and concise, but without too much verbiage, because with Instagram being so small and compact, if you get into too many details, it just looks like a bunch of blurbage and you don't even, people will just scroll past it, right? So there's very key ways that you can create ads that entice attraction and convert a little bit better.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. What are we doing on time?
We've got a couple minutes left, so we might have to take one more and then wrap it up. But then we, like I say, we can jump on another call.
Okay, awesome. We can do with your material, like what you take to door knocking. I noticed you made a video about it. What you're taking, it's like that bifold pamphlet or
Yeah,
brochure.
yeah.
Where'd you go to create that? I mean, you showed a quick glimpse of it and stuff, but I really like the way it looked. It was real clean and everything.
Yeah, so I have a graphic designer that helps me out with that, and I can send him your information. I can do an email introduction for you too if you like, and I'm actually going to be switching mine up. So maybe I'm going to be doing that over the next couple of weeks. So if you'd like, hold off a bit, and I can show you what I'm going to create and how I'm going to tweak a couple things to maybe make it a better asset and help convert a little bit better.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Initially, were you working on it with a lender, or did you just do it on your own?
I just do everything on my own. Now I'm going to have some input from my team, but before, when I was with Remax, that was one of the reasons why I switched. Is I was just doing everything on my own. But now that I'm with Redline, they're much more of a team model, and now I own my own team,
Right.
so I get input from multiple people. Because while I might know a couple things, I don't know everything, and I'm very well aware of that. So I love getting other opinions from people who've been in the industry longer to people who are just getting started, because everyone will always have some sort of neat idea that you can tweak and try and leverage, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of the point that I'm at right now. Is with I go to a few lenders. I know the two or yeah, top two that I want to work with that are always trying to help me out, checking in on me, and sending me some new information. So it's like if they send a good template of a brochure, kind of what I'm talking about, you think I should leverage that, or I mean,
Definitely.
yeah. So it'd be
Yeah.
okay
So,
to do the lender, I guess what I'm drawing upon.
no worries. Well, how about this? Why don't you send me whatever content you have? I'll take a look at it and I'll provide you some feedback, and we'll see if that's a good fit, or maybe we need someone to do some tweaks for you. And send me your branding and what sort of colors and stuff and what kind of feel you're going for.
Okay.
And I'll work with you behind the scenes and see if we can come up with something that is well suited and costly, so you're not forking out lots of money.
Awesome. Let's do that.
Cool, man. That's
Good.
awesome.
Hey, Mike, I appreciate you taking the call today and helping me out with all this.
Yeah, you're so welcome. And why don't we jump on another call soon, and we'll talk about goal setting, because I'm going through that with my team. Literally the hour before you called, I just put out to my team that this is what we're going to get going and doing this week. So let's hit that together, and I'll show you the steps that I take, and hopefully that's something that you can translate into helping your business.
Okay. Awesome, Mike. Thank you so much. Hey, real quick, I know it
Yeah.
might be a little cheesy to you, but can I take a picture of this screen?
Hell yeah, man.
I'm
Go
gonna
for
tag
it.
you in it too, so
Cool. I'll do the same. I always do that with the interview, so it's all good.
oh, no. Okay. Now I got something to post for today, you know?
Exactly. That's awesome, man. Yeah, well, you're so welcome, and I'll be keeping an eye out on your content, and let's see how I can help you. And It's time for you to shine, man. It's
Keep
time for
me,
you to
keep me,
get on Josh's interviews.
yeah, keep me accountable, and that's where we're going. All right, so
You know
we'll
it.
be in contact and everything. And I just want to say thank you for being an inspiration your entire journey. Followed you from the beginning, and I know
I
there's big things
appreciate
going
that,
forward.
man. Yeah. And now your story's inspiring me, so it's time to get out there and make our mark on this industry.
Yes, sir. All righty, Mike. Well, I'll see you. I'll talk to you soon,
You
and have a
bet.
good rest of your evening. All right.
Thanks so much, man. You too.
All right. Later.
Take care.